What doth it do, blessed and thick individuals? Welcome back to the official first episode, named episode of just my fitness journey, my workout journey. You know, hey, listen, don't worry about the angle. You're getting the best angle. You're getting the belly angle. We'll work on angles in future videos, but right now we're chilling. We're having a good time. It's a beautiful day outside. We outside as I'm in my car, windows wide open. Unfortunately, I am not ankles and thighs out in this weather. We'll get there. We'll get there. It's a build-up process. But back to what I was saying. Welcome into the first episode of Big Man Moving, baby. We have an official title for whatever this is and whatever I do. Since I'm back on my arc of picking things up and putting things down, I got my little black book of moving fucking weight around, which I'm very excited for. And we're gonna get into detail of it. We're gonna get in detail. Without further ado, let's bust it down. Let's bust it down. So this is gonna be like a combination of the last 2 weeks, and I'm just gonna talk about the things that I'm doing and the moves that I'm making. Okay, uh, you know we're introducing, and I'm not a gym expert. I'm not a man of scientific nature. I can barely read, ladies and gentlemen, barely read. So I think I am introducing progressive overload into my workouts, and I am also introducing down stacking. Okay, so we're gonna go into, like, I'm gonna explain what I'm doing, and the date and the weights and stuff like that. And if I am outlandishly wrong about progressive overloading and down stacking, if you are familiar with the game and the ideas and the motions of the ocean, please by far put it in the fucking comments below. I would love to have a conversation about it, tips and tricks and all that stuff. But remember, I'm a big man moving. This ain't gonna be done to any professional caliber. I'm just a hydrated himbo out here trying my best, trying to motivate, get myself motivated. And if I can put out some energy that motivates other people to start doing it too, that's what we're talking about. So we started off last week on the 3rd. We did some back. We did some back. We did some pull downs. The starting weight was 70. We did 8 reps. And a lot of these things are based on how I'm feeling, because as I said, I'm a big man. I gotta be careful. Okay? But then we moved up 10 pounds, 80, 95, 8 reps, 110, 8 reps. And this week I didn't start. I did the progressive overload, but I didn't implement the down stacking till the prior week. So, and then we did row 60 for 8 reps, 70 for 8 reps, 85 for 8 reps, 90 for 8 reps. The back extension we did 70 pounds for 10 reps. And then on the 4th, we did chest/abs. I like to mix some stuff up. A lot of my stuff, if you're watching, it might not make sense. You might be like, hey, you can work out this muscle with this muscle and it's better. Hey, I like a little spice of life. But on the 4th, we did chest and abs. We did 80 for 10 reps. Then we did 100 for 8 reps. Then we did 105 for 8 reps. And we did 125 for 8 reps. Moving on to the chest press on the 4th, we started out with 45 for 10 reps, 70 for 8 reps, 80 for 8 reps, and then we did 85 for 8 reps. And every day I did cardio for 20 minutes. And then for the abs, we did 70 for 10, then we moved up to 80 for 8, 95 for 8, and 100 for 8. So, moving on to leg day, which was on the 6th. I like leg day. I'm a big motherfucker. I've been a big motherfucker my whole life, and I'm very confident in legs. I like legs. I like working out legs. Wild, crazy, I know. But we did some hip abduction where you got to close them joints. Let me do a little bit of visual representation. We started at 70 for 10, then we moved up to 115 for 10, and then we moved up to 130 for another 10, and then 160 for 10, and then vice versa on the open aspect, spreading my thighs with the hip abductor. We started out at 100 for 10, 115 for 10, then we moved up to 140 for 10, then we moved up to 145 for 10. I'm just going to go down to the list. Then we did a leg press, 95 for 10, 115 for 10, 155 for 10, 175 for 10. And then for the leg curl, we did 70 for 10, 95 for 10, and then 105 for 10, and then up to 120 for another 10 reps. And then we did the leg extension, started out at 70 for 10 reps, 95 for another 10, 105 for another 10, and then we moved up to 120 for another 10. And I do the calf extenders too, because it feels good. You know, one of my weakest points in my legs is like my ankles and my calves, because, you know, it is what it is. But we did 70 for 10, and then we did 100 for 10, and then we did 120 for 10, and then we went up to 130 for 10. Now, on the 10th, which is the following week, we did back day again, but this is where I started like my down stacking. Now, again, I'm not a workout man. I can barely read, so I don't know if this is actually translating to a suitable down stack. Again, if you are, you know, versed in the subject, get in the comments, baby. Get in the comments. But we started out on 95 for 10, which, again, progressive overload. I'm trying to at least 5 to 10 every week to every increment of weight, if not more. And then we moved up to 110 for 10, and then we did 120 for another 10 reps. And then we did down stacking. So we did the 120 for 5, and then we did the 110 for 5, and then we did the 95 for 5, and then we did the 80 for 5 again. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm taking my highest, and then I'm just doing 5 reps down. Very basic explanation of what's going on. Row, we were able to start with 80 for 10, and then we moved up to 95 for 10, then 110 for 10, and then 115 for another 10, and then again, down stacking, 115 for 5, 110 for 5, 95 for 5, and then 80 for 5, so on and so forth. Back extension, and this is one of my weak points too, because I do have a bad back. I'm a big bitch, and I got a bad back. The back extension is always a tender thing for me. It depends on the day. But on this day, we did 80 for 10, then we did 95 for 10, then we did 110 for 10. So that was a good day. That was a good day. Moving forward from the 10th, god damn, till the 11th was a chest day, baby. Chest day. We did some experimenting things. So like as I'm progressing in my fitness journey, also is my confidence in the gym. So I did some new machines, and I like, you know, spicing it up. So we did some new machines, but I didn't really count them. So what we did do though is we did the pec fly, which I did count because that is a machine that I'm familiar with and something that I am going to do week to week. So the pec fly was 80 for 10, then we did 100 for 10, then we did 110 for 10, and then so on and so forth. 110 for 5, 100 for 5, and then 80 for 5. You know. And then on the 12th, and this is going to be a long video because we got like 2 weeks to talk and shit like that, but it's okay. It's okay. On the 12th, we did arms and shoulders. Now I'm going to say something. I've already said this multiple times in this video. I'm a big bitch. I'm proud of that. Shoulders is one of my weakest points on my body. So that is something that I want to put a little bit more attention to as I go forward in my journey. But on shoulder and arm day, we did some lat raises. We started at 30 for 10, then we moved to 40 for 10, then we moved to 45 for 10, and then we did the down stacking, which was 45 for 5, 40 for 5, and then 30 for 5, so on and so forth. And then we moved to the shoulder press, and these are machines. You know, these are labeled shoulder press at my local gym. I don't know if you go to a gym if they're going to be different or something like that, but you know, who knows. Then we got to the shoulder press, and we did 30 for 10 reps, 35 for 10 reps, 40 for 10 reps, and then we hit 40 for 5, and then we hit 35 for 5, and then we hit 30 for 5 again. And then we implemented some dumbbells too, which I also accounted for because that is something that I'm going to be, you know, putting into my weekly routine. We did 7.5, so 7.5 pounds, and we did some just like, I put my arms out straight in front of me and I just lifted it up, and then I did like a little bit of a of a woo. Listen, camera, baby, we got to get the angles. What you doing? Okay, hold on now. There it is. All right, let's just say we'll get more professional as we go on. And then we did like a little bit of a side thing. You know, it's always fun to experiment. Don't quote me in what I'm doing. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. And then we did some bicep stuff. We did some bicep dumbbell stuff. We did 15 pounds for 10 in different formulations. We did some hammer curls. Same thing, 15 pounds in different, for you things. And then of course mixed in 30 minutes of cardio after all of my working sets. And then on the 13th, we had a little bit of a rest day. We didn't go to the gym, but motherfuckers, we did something very, very big that I'm still very proud of myself. I walked a mile on the 13th. I haven't walked a mile ever. I can't even recall the last time that I walked a mile. So that was fucking the bee's knees and great stuff. Now, I know this video is running long, but that's okay because I like talking and y'all some beautiful motherfuckers. So anyway, on the 14th, we did legs. Again, very confident in legs. I usually am very good on leg day. Leg press, we started at 110 for 10 reps. Then we moved up to 125 for 10 reps. And then we did 140 for, okay, listen, phone. Okay, listen, these are the angles we got, people. And then we moved up to 140 for 10, and then we moved up to 155 for 10, and then, of course, down stacked as stated in the other exercises. Listen, this is the angle we get now. I'm trying to finish up this video right now. And then we moved to the hip inductor, outward, spreading my thighs. We started out at 100 for 10 reps, then we moved to 120 for 10 reps, 140 for 10 reps, and then we finished on 155 for 10 reps, and then we reversed it for 5 for the down stack. And then on the hip inductor, closing my thighs, we started out at 110, did 10 reps, 125, 10 reps, 140, 10 reps, 150 for another 10 reps, so on and so forth. Down stacking, I'm not going to, repeat the values. And then we did abs that day too, and we started out 75 for 10, we did 90 for 10, then we did 100 for 10. And I break my leg days up into, I go in the morning because I like the one gym I go to, I like the equipment there. And then another gym that I go to, I like a certain equipment for different legs. So in the second part of leg day, we did the calf extension. We started at 80 pounds for 10. We did 100 pounds for 10 reps, 120 for 10, 140 for 10. Then again, down stacked. A leg extension, we did 80 for 10, we did 95, and then we moved to 95 for 10, 100 for 10 reps, and then 125 for 10 reps, again, down stacked. And then the leg curl, we did 80 for 10 reps, 100 for 10 reps, and 120 for 10 reps, and then vice versa, we did some down stacking. And then that brings us to today, which is, I have no idea what today is, but it was a beautiful day. We did fasted cardio and some core workout, great times. Seen some beautiful motherfuckers. Respectfully, of course, shout out Rufus and Waho. I was gonna record this video at Waffle House, but that place was packed, and I'm a shy individual, and it was gonna feature the hand-holding hooligans, but we got time and we got presence to do that, and it was just a great time. It was a great time. We did great things. Ate Waffle House. Had a wonderful powwow, gain session, whatever you may be. But listen, that's it. Welcome in again. Thank you for watching for the first episode of the officially named of this series, Big Man Moving, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. I'm reaching over to stop the recording. Bye.